All right, here we are, day 7, and see, I don't have too much more to go here. Got 4 rows of a couple different types of lettuces. There's some of my seed, and there's some butter crunch, Hardy something or another. I can't remember the name of it. And last year's greens, you're already familiar with that. And 2 rows of beans and corn. I'll give you an idea here. The little skinny blades, that's obviously corn. That's beans. And the project is when you're double planting, is you're wanting the beans crawl up the stalk of the corn as it grows. Tried that 2 or 3 years in a row. Haven't had much success with it yet. Can't seem to get the ratio of the plant time and the grow time together. So here's a new row. It's quite a hodgepodge. I've got onions. I've got tomatoes, and I don't know if you can see the tiny little starts right there. Those are tomato plants. And this is pepper. Yeah, baby. Habanero. Anyway, as you can see down to the sprinkler head, the green flag down there, these are all peppers that I've planted. And so here's the theory. I've obviously got several things going on. Peppers, tomatoes, onions. Anyway, what I'm going to do is, as the tomato plants progress and get big enough to transplant, that's what I'm going to do. And that's one of the benefits of growing your own from seed and etc. You can actually sell the new starts at a market or on Craigslist or what have you. Oh my God, another snake. And so I've got a real good start on corn and beans. Over here, my tomatoes are doing really good. Now you can see kind of the spots on the leaves. That's when I first planted it. And if you can look at the top of the plant, see how dark and full and rich that is? That's obviously a happy plant. So it's gone through the transition from the nursery where I bought them into a happy home now. And this, let me just touch base on this. This is it's either a hazard or a byproduct of the food scraps. And as you can see, now that I've tilled everything in, I have got seeds galore from, and at this point of the stage it's too early to tell if they're cantaloupe or honeydew. So moving on down, we've got tomatoes, and in the center of the tomatoes I've got onion sets going on. In this row, zucchini, all the way down, it's a full row of zucchini. Now the zucchini's in the center of the row. That's how I planted them. And you can see I put some more lettuce on the outside corners. So as the zucchini grow up, it's going to take 30 days or so before they get big enough to worry about. So in the meantime, I'm growing the lettuces on the outside, so I can harvest the lettuce leaves until the zucchini start to take off. And at that point, the zucchini will be more important than the lettuce. In this row, we've got cubanella. Never heard of them before, but it's kind of a good-looking pepper on top of okra. And this is a what's it called? Louisiana's green velvet. So what I did, you see my onions are in the center of the row. So what I did was I took the okra and planted like stair step all the way up the row. And then I've got 2 rows of that. I'm sorry, I got 3 rows of okra. My daughter Ashley in Germany loves okra. So that's the theory. I stair step them. Now what that's going to do is, as they get taller, the plant's going to be on the outside of the row. And as they get taller and taller, I can walk down this side and harvest okra from this side of the row, walk down the middle of the next 2 rows, and I can harvest on both sides of that row. Now the onions, I'm not worried about onions. I love the tops of onions. They're a nice little delicacy for breakfast or salads or what have you. But the purpose of these set onions is obviously to make big bulbs that you can harvest at the end of the fall. And so starting in this row, my 3rd row of okra, it's a different brand of okra. This is Clemson Spineless. Looks like a little bit smaller okra variety. So I've got okra down just like I did the other 2 rows, staggered them, stair stepped them, whatever you want to call them. But I've also put in pepper plants, or pepper seeds, I'm sorry. So I've got onions and also peppers, several different kinds of peppers going on. And what's going to happen is the pepper comes up and gets large enough that I can transplant it. I just kind of see how it works out. You know, maybe I'll grow them side by side until the okra gets too tall and it starts shading the pepper, and then that's not a good thing. So what we're going to do is I'll decide once they get about 12 inches tall or whatever if I can transplant the peppers. But at this point I can put peppers anywhere because they're such a hardy plant that you can put them on the edge of the driveway or whatever, especially in summer. If you get a little bit of water and a whole lot of sun, you can plant them anywhere. So, okay, back to the worm beds. One of my earlier videos, I showed you some tomato plants or tomato seeds that I put in here. And that's what these are. These are tomato starts. Now, they're a little bit early to transplant right now. They're too tender. So what I'm going to do is let them get a better root base established. And then I'll transplant them either into a container of its own, or I will move them over to an area that's going to be better suited. And again, see these peppers right here. That's pimento, chili serrano variety. I've also got some birdhouse gourds. I've been trying to grow those for a couple years and haven't had very much luck with them. But anyway, I'm doing some starting of the seeds of those, just like I did the tomatoes. And again, those are looking really good. And this is just looks pretty flimsy right now. That's a rose, and it's kind of laboring, but you can take a stem of a rose, just a cutting, and you can start. So, anyways, you can see I've got about 2-3 more rows, and I'll be done here.